Hi, I'm Paul Battaglia, and this is section 7.5. At first glance, when students look at this section, they might think that it's going to be rather easy, but I think that when they look at the properties, they might actually see that things get a little tougher. So I have Gabe and Brittany here, and Gabe, talk to us a little bit about those properties and what they want to look for.
Sure. So as I work through the concepts in this chapter, I think students understand how matrix addition works, maybe after working through an example, as well as scalar multiplication.
Sure.
And then what I like to do is, as I'm talking about the properties, I like to relate them back to the properties from real numbers, because a lot of them are pretty similar.
Yep.
But the one major difference is that matrix multiplication isn't commutative. So real numbers, when you multiply them, it is commutative. So 3 times 6 is the same as 6 times 3. But when you have two matrices, say A and B, A times B isn't the same as B times A. And that really leads to a pretty good discussion about the differences between real numbers and matrices.
I agree. Brittany, tell us a little bit about how maybe we can start students off with just the process of matrix multiplication.
So we have the m by n matrix multiplied by an n by p matrix gives us an m by p matrix.
And so all these letters.
Yeah.
You're lost.
So we take a step back. So we take a step back. And what I say is what we need to have matrix multiplication is that the number of columns from the first matrix and the number of rows from the second matrix need to be equal. And then once we do the matrix multiplication, the product of that is going to be, the matrix is going to have the same number of rows from the first matrix and the same number of columns from the second matrix.
Perfect. These are really important points you're going to want to make to your students because it'll help avoid confusion as they work through some of the examples. A common mistake that we see a lot of times is when students are asked to square a matrix, they think that you can just square the elements of the matrix, and it doesn't work that way. So I always tell my students, just write the matrix out times itself and then go through the matrix multiplication process, and makes it a little bit easier for them. Finally, after you feel comfortable with where your students are with matrix multiplication, then it's time to get into applications such as vector transformation, and maybe you can even do some of the other real-life types of applications that we've provided for you. I hope these tips have been helpful and that you find much success in section 7.5.